You're listening to Life, the Universe, and Everything Else. Today on the show, Life Hacks.
Life, the Universe, and Everything Else explores issues of science, critical thinking, and secular humanism. If you have questions or comments about the show, or you'd like to suggest a topic, you can find us on Twitter or Facebook, or send us an email at lueepodcast@winnipegskeptics.com. Show notes and references can be found at lueepodcast.com.
My name is Ashlyn Noble, and I will be your host today as we test a variety of things in a very BuzzFeed-esque podcast. With me today, I have Laura Creek-Newman.
Hi there.
And Lauren Bailey.
Hello.
And this is proving to be quite a short show. We all tested as many things as we could, but didn't come to any long-winded conclusions. So stay tuned to the end of the show for an excellent body hack-related game.
Ooh.
We might have a special guest.
Don't make me stand up. It's not that kind of body hack, is it?
We'll see. So, first of all, Lauren, in her capacity as professional office person,
Okay.
has tested a bunch of office hacks.
So really, I looked around my office and I went, I can do this on my lunch hour. So we did. I went to a bunch of the life hack sites, the office hack sites, and I found of the 9 or 10 I looked at, we got probably about 20 different hacks. Most of them had the same pictures on the articles.
Yeah.
So it was really hard to try different things. So I tried 15.
So you're saying that life hack websites, one of the life hacks that they use is to just plagiarize each other.
Yeah.
Definitely. 100%.
There is one listicle writer in the world, and they keep that person chained up somewhere in a basement, and then everybody gets the content.
Well, that seems unethical, but okay, cool.
Alright, so I'm going to breeze through my 15 office hacks. The first one, binder clip arms, replacing broken keyboard feet.
Oh, yes! I'm so glad you did this. I want to know! That one was everywhere!
This one doesn't even make sense to me.
No, it doesn't!
I can't picture it.
I totally should have brought, my keyboard, and so you know what the binder clips are, right?
Yeah.
They're the bulldog clips, they're the black, and then they've got the metal arms that come out of them.
Silver arms, yeah.
The silver arms. And the hack is to take the arms out of a binder clip and put them in the little divots where the little feet from the bottom of your detachable keyboard come in. I didn't realize that the first couple of times I read it. So here I am trying to clip onto the little nubbin. They're snapping off and hitting me in the face. And I'm like, this isn't working. And then I looked at the thing again and read it for content like I should as a tech writer. And no, you take the arms off and you put them in the little nubbins. And you can't use the very tiny ones. And you can't use the medium-sized ones. You have to go to the extra large-size binder clips.
Really?
Because, well, for the keyboard I have.
Oh, okay.
Which is like a fancy Dvorak one, right?
No.
Well, I've seen it. It's like one of those split keyboards?
Yeah, but it's not a Dvorak.
Oh, okay.
No, it's just a QWERTY with the split keys.
Okay. It's cool, though.
It's really cute. And the feet are broken, and I don't want to get rid of it. And the new ones that they have in, because they have a new IT supplier, are different, and I don't want to change. So I've been sitting with a flat keyboard.
So this was a timely topic for you.
I have been sitting with a flat keyboard for the last, I don't know, about 4 years.
So once you finally figured out that you couldn't clip them on.
Yeah, then I took the arms out of a binder clip in the appropriate size. I sized them all up. And I put them into the little nubbins, and I put my keyboard up, and it works.
Really?
My keyboard stands up. And it's amazing.
Wow. I did not expect that to work. I expected it to not be strong enough.
Mm-hmm.
Or to just, flip out or something like that.
When my desk gets dusted at the end of the night, this even happened with the old feet, and this is what broke the feet, is that the keyboard would get knocked over. But now my keyboard tray moves up and down, so I push it underneath my desk, and the cleaners don't touch it. But it does work.
You also have lots of replacements if you need to do this again.
I never have to replace my keyboard, I just have to replace the feet. And because what touches the keyboard desk is metal, it does slide around a little bit, so I can put some tape or something on it. I haven't perfected it, but it is at a proper typing angle and my wrists don't hurt.
Nice!
I have some, like, Plastidip for my metalworking tools at home. You could just dip the binder clip ends in the Plastidip and then they would be nice and stable.
Yeah!
Or I could just use some of the blue tacky putty that's also in the supply room.
I also am okay with this.
Next, okay, get ready, the next few are binder clip specific.
Okay.
So the next one is giant binder clips as phone stand. Have we seen this? You take 2 binder clips and you clip one onto the arm of another, and then the bottom one, that's like the one that's standing, it has its arm sticking out so you can put your phone cord through it as a phone cord holder, and then the other one holds up your phone from the back.
Oh, okay.
I've done this in the past, and it's worked, but then when you put the charger into your phone, you have to hang the bottom of your phone off of your desk.
Right, yeah.
And knowing me and my clumsy self, it's gonna get smacked on the floor. So
Well, that's an accident waiting to happen there.
Yeah. So instead, I have a phone case with a stand on it, and I can turn this sideways to charge. Much
Nice.
easier. We're down for 1, was good. The keyboard feet, the phone stand, binder clips, not so good.
Binder clips are at 50%.
50% binder clips.
Okay.
Okay, number 3, straightened paper clips as a phone stand.
Those sound really weak.
Yeah. Again, partial success. This will stand your phone up. It may be useful if your office doesn't spring for binder clips, or if you're working from your home office and you really need to set it up, so you do the sort of the same thing where you straighten out one side and blah, blah, blah. Don't bother. You're just going to end up with a lot of frustration.
That sounds like a lot of work.
Yeah. Oh, it's not even the most labor-intensive one on here.
I know.
Binder clips as cable storage / headphone hanger. You clip it onto the end of your desk and you wrap your earbud headphones.
Semi-reasonable.
Yeah, but this is me, and I know I'd be standing waiting for the bus, watching the bus come up, getting to turn my headphones on, and realizing they're still wrapped around this janky thing that's attached to my desk. Not gonna happen. I just keep them in a little case instead.
What if you have a pair of, like, work-specific earbuds?
That would work. You can also use it to hang on your cubicle wall for your bigger earbuds, if you need to. I'm coming from a space of privilege in my office, but we have things for this. You could use binder clips for it. I guess it works. I don't like looking like I live in an IKEA.
Well, and I think this kind of... I don't know that even kind of qualifies as a hack, because a hack seems like it's supposed to disrupt and reinvent things, but this is sort of a this is all I have sort of scenario, which I don't think that's the same thing.
I ran into that a lot with these. I'm like, is this really a hack? And then I realized that it was on all 20 of the sites that I went to, so I'm like, they're calling it a hack, I'm going to use it.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, if they're putting it on there, then, it's fair game, right? But is it truly a hack?
I'm not getting into the metaphysical office hacks. So the last one with using binder clips is basically anything else using binder clips, like clipping your cables, clipping your blah, clipping your blah. Apparently I've turned into a cartoon vampire, I don't know. So, binder clips can be useful for any application, but they may be more handy and cheap for a home office. You get some at Staples and you're good. You get a couple of boxes, you're good for the day. But if you have the ability to expense something else on the company dime, it's worth it. Okay, next hack. We are off of the binder clips. Next one is key card in the back of the phone case. I didn't realize that this would be considered a hack. So if you have a flat key card, just put it in the back of your phone case. So you can always just beep your phone against things instead of your key card.
I guess that's a hack.
It's like Apple Pay, but you have to have a bulkier phone.
It's a partial success. I've done it in the past in other companies I work for, and it's fine. Or I would have it in my wallet and just kind of like lean my butt up against things. Currently, I have a key fob, so that really doesn't work. It's not a flat card. It's not going to work at all. And for people like me who would set this up on a Friday, so they would put the key card in the back of the phone case on the Friday afternoon going, oh yeah, this sounds great. And then Monday they're panicking because they can't find their work key card. Not a good idea.
Now, have you ever had problems with the connectivity with a phone case? Like, do you find that it has always transmitted fairly well?
Yeah, these were the old ones. Look, I haven't done this in probably, oh gosh. I last had a flat key card 2009, so it was different. Different technology.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Okay, number 7. This was my most hated. It is a fork hack using a pen, scotch tape, and straightened paper clips.
What?
To make yourself a fork?
Uh-huh.
Oh, goodness gracious.
What? Okay.
Yeah, this is disgusting. It is a complete and utter fail. Do not do. Ew. These are my notes verbatim. Do not do. For the purposes of science, I tried to make one, and no matter how tight I wrapped the tape to tape these 3 little straightened paperclip tines to the back of my highlighter, they kept flipping around.
Yeah.
Like they're gonna move.
Could you make, like, a spear, though? Like, could you at least make one tine and then spear your food?
You might as well just uncap the pen and jab the...
Yeah, I feel like maybe a paperclip would be slightly more hygienic.
Have you been in an office?
No, thank God.
Yeah, I would not put anything that goes in that office in my mouth.
Yeah.
So these tines, they keep slipping around, and the only thing that they are going to stab, they're not going to stab any food, they're not going to catch anything, the only thing they're going to catch is the inside of my mouth.
Yeah.
I did not actually put this monstrosity in my face, because I do not want tetanus.
Could I eat rice with this?
No.
Well, I'm imagining, so I was thinking, like, I'm just imagining this thing flipping all over, and then you said spear, so I'm like, so you're gonna spear each grain of rice?
I mean, if there's 3 tines, maybe they could, like, get some in between the tines.
No, and then because as soon as you put it down into a thing of rice, they all flap apart. So it would end into the shovel with no base to it, and it's just no. Oh, like I said, I didn't attempt to put it in my mouth because I don't know the last time I opened up my junk drawer and sanitized my paper clips and the back of the orange highlighter that I taped them to. So if you forget to bring a fork to eat lunch, beg, borrow, or steal one instead. Or just use your fingers. They're less likely to give you tetanus.
Yeah.
Just like Jem, I believe that salad is a finger food in the office. I don't put dressing on it, and I just pick it up lettuce leaf by lettuce leaf. But yeah, do not use this fork thing.
No.
Gross.
That's hilarious. I'd never heard of that one.
Number 8 was use a MacBook charger to open non-twist bottles. So this was a fail.
What?
My notes say, are you mad? Do not do this. Use a lighter or a spoon or anything else, anything other than the only thing providing power to your otherwise very expensive brick. So the little MacBook charger, you've got the tines, and then they seem to be sitting in an indentation, and then you just try and flip the lid off of the bottle. No, don't do it. Gnaw your way in there if you need to. Don't do it.
And considering, chances are, the thing that comes in the non-twist top bottle is probably not necessary for consumption during work hours. You can probably wait.
Yeah, just have some water.
Yeah, exactly.
Number 9 was plastic cup or plastic cup and toilet paper roll as iPhone speakers.
Oh, yes, I saw that one.
Yeah, so these are a partial success. The configuration does enlouden the phone sound. But for a busy...
The technical word.
It is. If we can embiggen, we can enlouden.
I don't believe we can embiggen.
The Simpsons said we can embiggen. It makes the sound louder, there you go. But for a busy office where extra sound is kind of frowned upon, why would you even bother? Mm-hmm. It's more of a, oh shit, I have somebody coming over for dancing later, and I don't have a proper speaker.
Yeah.
At my office, the TP rolls are locked up, and they're the wrong kind because they're the industrial toilet paper rolls. And we don't have plastic cups, so I would end up having to bring recycling from home to make this speaker system at the office, and that is not happening. So I'm just going to unwrap my earbuds from around my binder clip and use them instead. Be nicer to people. Number 10, sticky note or scotch tape keyboard cleaner, which is a partial success.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, method is time intensive, and you have to press hard to get all the gunk, and if you don't turn off your computer, then you're basically just like typing G all the way along.
Blame it on the cat.
I don't have a cat in my office as much as I've asked. I know.
Just binder clips. So many binder clips.
We're drowning in binder clips. But to clean my keyboard, I use canned air, because I have access to that. And pro tip, if you don't want your keyboard to get ucky, don't eat over it.
I don't know. Sounds like not a good life hack.
The not eating over a keyboard.
Okay. Okay.
I don't think that's a realistic thing that people do.
Or get one of the keyboards like my keyboard here that doesn't have the indents in between things.
But in order to keep my really awesome keyboard, I have to have them.
Yeah.
The next one, number 11, so we're almost done. Mug as a burrito, or donair, or pita, or wrap holder.
Oh, okay. I was like, wait, mug is a wrap? What?
Yes.
Just put all the ingredients in the mug and then slide them into your face.
Make sure there's some coffee refuse at the bottom.
Oh, gross. But the sad thing is, I'm sure that happened.
Yeah. So this is a partial success. Yes,
okay.
a mug will hold your similarly sized cylindrical food upright. It is a thing that will happen.
Who would have thought?
Did you go get a wrap to test this?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Is it really important to have it standing upright on your desk, though? It's like a vase full of rice.
But so that while you're typing, you can lean over and take a bite.
Oh my god. See, this is where somebody like that really should have just skipped the whole wrap and had like the mug just slide it into their face.
Yeah. So why can it not be horizontal on your desk, though? I've had burritos and I put them down on my desk and gone to, like, turned around and worked. It will not destruct in an awesome fashion. It will not happen.
I will say, as somebody who's not a very good wrap roller, if you don't wrap it tight enough, it might. And if you've taken the entire wrapping off,
Which is foolish.
you're absolutely right. If you've taken that all off, and it's not wrapped tight enough, then there is a higher chance of deconstruction all over your keyboard, in which case so many sticky notes are going to be needed.
A whole roll of Scotch tape.
Yeah. So if your food doesn't explode, this just basically screams, look how busy I am. I am too busy to stop for lunch.
Which is awful.
Yeah.
Bad.
Yeah. I know that I'm going to forget that this mug is my burrito holder. And it's going to be like the paint water, not paint water thing, where I'm going to reach over for my coffee and then get a face full of, like, refried beans or something. Yeah.
Coffee tastes like lettuce.
It tastes like sadness and smushed burrito. So this one I didn't try. This next one, number 12, but it follows the exact same pattern. In addition to your coffee cup as your burrito holder at work, your car coffee cup holder as a burrito or donair or pita or wrap holder. So you have it sitting right there as you're driving.
No, bad plan. You
say-
can't even lean over that far to take a bite. What's
No.
the point? Just leave the tinfoil on.
Yeah, well, yeah,
Yeah, like, wait!
the pictures show them with the tinfoil still on. Like, they're just unwrapped a little bit, and then you roll the paper down with the, so you've got all the problems as with the office paint cup, as well as the distraction of driving.
Wait till you get where you're going.
Yeah.
Please.
Otherwise, well, think about slamming on the brakes and then just having chunky salsa all over your car. No.
Everywhere.
Don't do it. Number 13, egg carton as a laptop stand or air circulator.
Oh, yes.
Partial success. Didn't try it because I don't have egg cartons at work. But we've seen them in the past. That's how old-fashioned laptop air circulators worked.
Lauren, this doesn't sound like good science.
It works, but it would involve me, again, bringing more recycling to work in order to set up the system. Not going to happen. So the grade 3 art projects are far in my past, and I'm not going to do it. I don't think I'm the target audience for these lists, ladies. So I say keep your egg cartons at home and start your seedlings in them instead.
That's a good life hack.
Yeah. Number 14, using washi tape to personalize your chargers or keys on your keyboard. Like putting little pieces of washi tape on your keyboard to say, here's the one where I use the macro for this one. No, just don't do it.
But it would
What
be
is washi
adorable.
tape?
It's like decorative tape that is mostly, it's like paper tape. And so it doesn't stick super well, and it's usually pretty thin. But it comes in like hundreds of amazing colors and patterns, and I have a lot of it.
Ashlyn's laptop is covered in washi.
Well, it's mostly accidental washi, though, because it's just nearby when I'm doing stuff with washi tape, so it gets the leftover bit stuck to it.
Yeah, I'm not putting washi tape all over my office. There's enough of it in my house. So number 15, putting magnets underneath your desk to organize your office supplies.
I love it.
Yeah, until you smack your knee into your scissors for the 17th time. Use a drawer like a normal human being.
What if your office is really cheap and doesn't give you drawers?
Then put a cup and put your thingies in it on your on your desk. Your scissors do not need to hang like Batman. Those are my 15 office life hacks. They're the same on every single website that's out there. Really, the only one that I found useful was the keyboard feet.
So this podcast got Lauren's keyboard off of horizontal.
Yep.
We've done some good in the world this month.
We have prevented wrist strain for Lauren Bailey.
Excellent.
Cheers.
Quite honestly, I think that's a pretty good hit rate for some of these life hacks based on some of the suggestions that were given.
Yeah. I'm happy with that amount.
That's good. Yeah. A lot of these hacks definitely seem like, you need a whole lot of cardboard recyclables in order to do them, which in an office environment you wouldn't have, and...
Depends on the office, because there's a lot of cardboard kicking around mine. I don't want there to be.
But it's not the right kind of cardboard.
No.
Like, it's all very much like you said, like housewares kind of cardboard that you would require. So, yeah, you're kind of crossing boundaries. So I guess if you're setting up your home office...
Yeah.
Maybe.
But if you can expense something through the office expenses account, go right ahead.
Yes.
I was really sad that Lauren didn't try the one where you can make tiny airplanes out of office supplies and fly them around your work.
I didn't know that was a hack. I just thought that was something that we did when we were bored.
Yeah, I feel like that's a time waster.
Well, it's more of a hack than some of these things, like clipping a binder clip to the edge of your desk to wind your headphones around.
Yeah, and it's just so long to unwind your headphones.
It's entertaining.
I make those during meetings with paper clips on the noses, and then I just throw them at people. I am not the most mature person in my office.
I've gathered.
I don't know why I've been there for a decade. I don't know why they keep me around. They haven't listened to this podcast.
Because you write good words.
There you go.
I write words good. Like in biggin and loudin.
Alright, so I wanted to try something that was going to be testable and repeatable, ideally.
Oh, science.
Yeah, I wanted to science this shit. I also didn't want to do 100 loads of laundry, so my original plan for testing out the towel thing, whether you should put a dry towel in with your wet towels to make them dry faster, I didn't do that. So we'll leave that to Laura.
I didn't do that. I forgot that one.
And Lauren sent me the link to a trick that was supposed to help me with a problem that I have.
Not the problem that our listenership is going to think.
So I have a really hard time brushing my teeth, and especially my tongue, because I have a really active gag reflex. And it's really only this one activity that it affects, because as listeners to the show know, I have a real problem with saliva and things that happen in mouths. And the combination of a toothbrush and like thinking about foam in my mouth, and it just grosses me out, and I gag, and it's not good. So
we have very thin walls in the house. I sleep right beside the bathroom, and I can hear when Ashlyn's coming to bed by going, I'm like, oh, time for cuddles.
So Lauren told me about this trick that she saw online, where supposedly if you clench your thumb in your fist, so you put your thumb in first and then close all your fingers around it and hold really tight.
Do not punch anyone or you will break your thumb.
Right. It is supposed to stop the gag reflex in its tracks. And some of the websites that I saw said specifically the left thumb, not the right thumb. I don't know why. Some of them weren't that specific.
Would it be different for me as a southpaw?
I was not able to find that information, but I did find other people asking that question. So there is some support for being able to kind of hack your reflexes, because this is like the pharyngeal reflex, right? It's not something that you can really consciously control.
Right.
But there is something called the Jędrowski maneuver, where if you clench your teeth and at the same time you clench your fingers into sort of hook shapes and then put both of those like hook shapes together, so you're like holding on to your fingers. If you do both of those things at the same time, and then someone attempts to do like the hammer on your knee thing to get your patellar reflex to go, if you compare when you're doing the maneuver to when you're not doing the maneuver, the one where you are doing the maneuver will be more pronounced. And so it's apparently a way that doctors can check that reflex more uninhibited.
So you'll kick more?
Yeah, you'll kick more when you're distracted by this maneuver, basically. And the mechanism of how it works is essentially you are concentrating too hard on holding all of these muscles in the right position to think about your knee.
Right.
Patting your tummy and rubbing your head.
Right, yeah.
Okay.
So you're distracted enough that you're not thinking about what your knee is doing, and so it's able to swing more freely,
Okay.
I guess.
You're not waiting for the hammer to fall.
Basically, this trick did not work for me. I tested it morning and night for most of the past 2 weeks, and there was at no point one that I did not gag at all, which is normal for me. I felt like maybe it was a little less sensitive, like a tiny bit, but not enough to make any real difference. But I have found online there's a lot of anecdotal evidence from a bunch of people who say this works for them. So I don't know if mine is just more like psychologically activated rather than the physical act of brushing my teeth. But like there's even dentists and stuff that say that they get their patients to do this, and they're not sure if it's some like stimulation of the nerves that will interfere with the gag reflex. And apparently, I'm going off a tangent here, but up to like 30% of people don't have a gag reflex at all.
At all?
Yeah, which seems dangerous.
That does seem dangerous. I could see a very not sensitive one where it's like only if you were actually choking on something would you have a gag reflex, but really 30% have none at all.
Apparently people who can like really chug beers down in like record times, those people just don't have any gag reflex, and that's how it works.
Oh.
Yeah.
I've trained mine over many activities and many years to
Doesn't
not
work
be
so
around
well.
when
Well, yeah. So
I'm trying to be delicate here.
the same dentist that I saw talking online attributed basically to just distracting the patient. So along with clenching your thumb, they also suggest like a stress ball or keeping people distracted, or even just continuously saying "ah," because that keeps your mind off of the activity.
If people are told this by their dentist or other health professional, maybe they're going to think it works more, so they might give it more of a credence.
Right.
Saying my dentist told me to try this and it will work.
I heard that, but that's not supposed to work on reflexes. I don't know.
I don't know what our bodies do, man. They're weird.
Yeah, bodies are awesome and wacky. Once I figured out that this was not working for me, I tried to find other methods online of suppressing the gag reflex. You can imagine the sorts of websites I found. And then I tried to Google more specifically while brushing teeth, while at the dentist, yada yada.
Yeah.
So there are like numbing sprays that you can get if you're really desperate, which seem to work okay. The only other suggestion that seemed to have any sort of plausibility other than distract yourself was to just desensitize yourself over a period of time. So start, forward on the tongue and brush just a little bit, and then keep going backward until you find that spot, and do that for a week, and then go a little further and go a little further. And,
right.
Yeah, which sounds awful.
Yeah, you have to really be in the right frame of mind to want to go through that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So you did not try the desensitization?
Well, I didn't
technique?
feel like I really had enough time at this point when I
Right.
realized that this other thing was not going to work. So
When we go to Penzak, we can try a whole different desensitization.
So yeah, I thought it was a cool trick, and apparently the idea of distracting yourself with a different sensation is enough for a lot of people that this will work, but it doesn't work for me.
But it has nothing to do with the fact that it's that thumb and that specific nerve you're pushing on or anything.
I couldn't find any real support for that
so
other
there's
than
no
a
science.
little bit of speculation about it.
Okay.
Are you sure it didn't have to do with the chakra there and the pressure point?
I
And
saw a lot of people.
how the moon and Mercury were aligned. Because
I saw the words acupressure used a lot. Actually, there was this one website that almost sounded plausible until they got to the point where they were like, yeah, so many people write to this website telling me that their children have a really hard time taking cod liver oil every day because of a gag reflex, and cod liver oil is the most important thing that you can feed your children to avoid them ever getting sick.
Is this the 1930s? When did the 1930s get a website?
So I was like, oh,
was
bye-bye.
this the Weston A. Price Foundation by any chance?
No, it was some sort of like crunchy mama blog. Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Should we take cod liver oil every day, Laura? Will it help me to never get sick again?
No.
How about your omega-3 fish burps?
Oh, I hate them so much. Taking it at night has helped, though. I haven't had any fish burps since.
This is good. This is
The
good.
worst. It's the worst 9 hours ever. It was not helping my gag reflex research.
Yeah, no kidding. Oh, yeah. Bad timing to do 2 gut-related things. So, I did a bunch of the typical around-the-house life hack type things that you'll see in most of those 101 life hacks or 50 incredible life hack type websites. And very much like yours, Lauren, I saw the same things coming up over and over again for the last 5 years worth of listicles.
Yeah.
So, yeah, there's not a whole lot of creativity here. But I picked some that I thought, one, that I had time to do, and the things to do, and 2, that I thought were actually testable.
Do they involve recycling?
No, I specifically did not choose any of the recycling-related ones. I have a good reason for this, because a lot of the life hacks, like the around-the-house hacks, require you to store a lot of recyclables. For example,
Yes.
there's this one where it's like, organize all your cords in one box. So they have a cardboard box, I guess it was a shoe box or something like that, and you use toilet paper rolls or paper
Yeah, I saw
towel
that one.
rolls to put all of your, like, you wrap them up and you put your cords in. Well, that's great, but you can't put that together until you have 12 of those things, or however, like, in my mind anyway, it's like you have to collect all these things in order to put that project together. So I'm not hanging on to 11 toilet paper rolls until I get the 12th one to do it. So that's a thing. Or they require me to keep things like bread clips, which, why? Why do I keep these things? There is zero reason to keep these things. I'm not collecting them. Like, I don't need a purpose for them. Their purpose is the garbage can. Like, that is it. So I specifically shied away from a lot of those things. And I saw a lot of the ones, like, you had, like, there were many variations on the magnify the speakers on whatever device things. And some of them, again, were sort of like, well, if this is all you got, I guess this is a hack. But I wouldn't say, oh no, you don't need to buy those speakers, just use these Solo cups cut in half, put on top of your laptop. So, no, I did not do that. So the things that I did do, I tried to be as scientifically rigorous as I could with the available things.
Look at you two, all science and stuff. Mine took a lunch hour.
It's all good. Mine did not take much longer than a lunch hour. So, the first thing that I did, the suggestion is to take a walnut. When you have wooden furniture that is scratched, take a walnut and rub it on the scratch.
Okay, yeah, I've
and it
seen
will
that.
get rid of the scratch, right? It'll be good as new. And so I did that upstairs on our coffee table, which is torn up. And I will show you guys the before and after photos. Now, of course, our
That makes
audience...
for good listening.
I know, but I just wanted... This one was hard to do without the photos, so we can put the photos in the show notes if you want.
On our Facebook
so
group.
that is the before photo.
Okay. Yeah,
Okay.
Pretty messed up.
Okay, now, yeah, quite messed up. I took a piece of walnut and I went over the entire bottom section there, just on that face. And this is the after photo.
Okay.
Okay?
It took about 5 years worth of...
So there's some improvement. And honestly, there was more improvement than I thought. I really didn't think that this was going to do much.
Yeah.
Like there's
So
one...
I have a question. Was
Yes.
it like a naked walnut or the walnut shell? What was
No,
it?
it's like the nut because
Okay.
you need
The meat.
the oil.
I feel like that's a
in it.
pretty light color, though. Like maybe it would work better on lighter color.
I think
ones?
it has more to do with the oil.
Oh, okay.
In it, and I honestly
Darkening
think
it?
it is. Yeah.
Because I've thought about doing that for that scratch on our living room floor that Dave put in with that table.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, and for the listeners, if you don't see the photo, my coffee table has a fairly dark stain on it. It's a really soft, kind of cheap wood that has a dark stain. So the wood underneath is very light, but the stain is dark. So there actually was an improvement
I kind of
with
want
it.
to see them side by side.
Yeah, it definitely didn't cover anything where the stained part of the wood where the finish was totally taken off. That's just going to stay light colored. But for the things that were light scratches and quite fine, it actually did fill them in fairly well. You could still see the texture difference depending on how hard it was, but the color difference.
There's like this
there.
one line in particular that I can see is much less.
Yes, it's like right in the middle there. It's like, it's a pretty pronounced, like it's very thin, but it's a pretty pronounced sort of like loose S shape. And it's all like mostly gone in the second photo.
Yeah,
and I didn't rub it. I didn't put the walnut on for very long. It took maybe 1 or 2 minutes of rubbing it in, like, no, 1 minute at most. So it worked-ish. You know, if you had a little scratch on something and you wanted to catch it early, sure, why not, right? Cool. But if you have a big gouge, it's definitely not going to fix your gouges.
I'd want to see it, like, side by side with Pledge.
Yeah, yeah. Or what they also have those, they're sort of like crayons that are in different stains that are meant for this kind of thing. And so a trial with that would be good. I guess it's the kind of thing where it's like, oh shoot, I'm having company over and I just scratched this table. Sure, why not? Give it a go, right? But
or I'm never going to go out and buy a product for this, but I have a walnut.
Yeah, but I got walnuts.
It's Christmas and there's a thing of walnuts on the table. I'm just going to color this in to try it.
Yeah, so that's... You know, it worked. It was okay. One thing to note, though, is that if you do want to do this, and you're doing it to a lot of your furniture, keep in mind that you now have nut oil all over your furniture, which, should somebody who's highly allergic to nuts come into your house and start touching said furniture, could be a serious problem. So if you do this, remember and tell people not, you know, warn people before they touch your wooden furniture. That's really the biggest downside to it.
My coffee table is a walnut. Gotcha.
Yeah.
My living room is an anaphylactic risk.
Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much. All right, so on to my next hack. So this one, for all the cold beverage fans out there, wrap a wet paper towel around your beverage, put it in the fridge, and it'll get cold faster. Now, depending on the listicle that you read, it'll either say get cold faster, or it'll say it'll be ice cold in 15 minutes. I saw that claim on one of them, too. I took 2 plastic water bottles, like the 500 ml standard clear water bottles of water that were kept in a cool basement, but not refrigerated. I took the temperature of both of the bottles. I put my digital probe inside the water.
Nice.
Okay. They both came out at 13.7 degrees Celsius. So then I took it was a double ply wet paper towel because our single ply ones are really crummy. So anyway, made a paper towel wet, wrapped it around one of the bottles, put them both in.
What was your method for making the paper towel wet?
I put water from the tap.
If we're going to do science here, we need to...
I turned the tap on to cold. I soaked the paper towel, then I wrung it out so that it was still wet but not sopping.
So it was cold water. So may that have contributed to your results.
Laura, where's your lab book?
I don't know. I should have made it 13-degree water. I'm sorry.
She's never going to let us come over again.
Anyway, I put both bottles in the fridge for 10 minutes. At the 10-minute mark, I took them out, opened them up, tested them. The bottle without the paper towel was at 12.8 degrees. The paper towel bottle was at 12.1 degrees. Okay. So I put them back in the fridge for another 10 minutes. At the 20-minute mark, the regular bottle was 11.3 degrees. The paper towel bottle was at 10.3 degrees. So a full degree difference at this point. So yes, technically the paper towel one was cooling it down faster. So true. Thing is, when you tasted both of the bottles, they're pretty much the same.
Yeah.
Right? The human body's not going to notice, or our taste buds at least, are not going to notice a big difference, like a 1 degree difference. Yeah. Now, had I left it in for 30 minutes or even an hour, perhaps there would have been a greater temperature difference between the two of them. But at that point, I've also left a bottle in the fridge for an hour. This is not a hack. This is not a shorter, make my life easier and faster kind of thing, because my bottle's been in for an hour. So it definitely won't make your bottle of beverage ice cold in 15 minutes or anything like that. But technically, it does make it get cold faster.
I always thought that this worked really well, but I've never done a controlled version of it. I've always just, and I wonder if it would work better with canned drinks because of the metal conductivity.
It could.
I've always heard it works with glass. I've never heard it done with
bottles?
plastic.
Yeah. And I wanted to do it with glass, but I did not have any that was not already chilled, and it was at the point where I didn't have the time to let it come up to a warm enough temperature to actually do that. So I took what I had available. Same thing with the cans. I only had cans that were all chilled, so it really wasn't a good control.
Water bottles or nothing.
It was water bottles or nothing. So maybe, I mean, the plastic is really thin on these bottles.
Yeah.
So I can't imagine that there's a lot of insulation from it. Maybe there is, it may work a lot better with a different substance, but I mean, hey, if you want a really cold water bottle and you're trying it with this, I can tell you it's not going to make an appreciable difference, even though it technically works.
Yeah, I definitely would have thought that this one would have been a slam dunk win.
Yeah, I was pretty skeptical. I didn't think it was going to work at all, and I was actually pleasantly surprised to see that, it actually did make it cool down faster.
Technically, this worked.
Technically, it worked, but yeah, it didn't work in the hack fashion that it said it would.
If you have a bag of ice, though, something that definitely works is, like, putting ice in water and then salting it and then putting your drinks in it. Like, those things will be cool immediately.
Yes, and that is a common hack that you'll see with things.
Yeah.
I think the Mythbusters did that one, too.
Probably.
Yeah.
I love the Mythbusters.
The next hack that I tried, put a wooden spoon across a pot of boiling pasta to stop it from boiling over. Well, now, depending on which site you see, some of it will say it will stop it from boiling over, full stop, or it will boil over more slowly, is what some of the sites will say. Okay.
And somebody's Italian grandmother says.
Yeah. So, again, I tried to be all sciencey. I took 2 pots of approximately equal size. I put 6 cups of water in each of them. I put them both on the stove and turned both elements that are the same size to high at the same time. Brought them to a boil. Then I took 2 boxes of KD, Kraft Dinner, macaroni and cheese for anybody outside of Canada. Poured it in at the same time, gave it each a good stir, and let it come to a roaring boil. And one pot I put the wooden spoon over, the other one I left nothing. The pot that had the spoon over it did start to bubble up like you would expect from pasta water, especially easy refined pasta like Kraft Dinner pasta.
Kraft Dinner is the worst for boiling over.
Exactly. It's definitely going to do that. And so it did bubble up, and the bubbles did break apart as it started to hit the spoon, and it seemed like it took longer for it to boil over. It seemed like it didn't get that same dome of things. And that would make sense because that spoon is breaking up the bubbles, right? So it was just smaller bubbles forming rather than something big. Eventually it did sort of start to trickle over the sides, so it did still boil over, and I had to turn the heat down, which is what I would normally do to prevent boiling over. But that's beside the point. So subjectively, it seemed like it took longer with that one. Problem was, the other pot never boiled over at all. It was at a roaring boil the whole time, but never boiled over. But what I didn't take into account was that the other pot had Teflon on the inside.
Oh, okay.
So I'm thinking the non-stick pot stopped it from boiling over.
Life hack.
So
boil your pasta in a Teflon pot.
In a Teflon pot. There you go. Because it was on what I would say is arguably the hotter element of the 2 large elements. And it was on full heat the whole time, and it never boiled over.
I didn't
never even
know
get
pots
close.
Came in non-stick.
This is a very cheap pot that we bought. Pots don't often come in non-stick, but this one is. It's Jem's chai tea making pot, and it makes very good tea. But it was the only one that I had that was of appreciable size to the other ones, I went for it with that. But so this was not as sciencey. I had errors in my method. It was flawed. But coming out of this, no, the wooden spoon definitely did not stop it from boiling over. Maybe it took longer to boil over, but like I said, just turn the heat down a little and you'll be okay. Like, that's how you fix it. Or if you really need to boil everything at high heat, choose a Teflon pot. I think that's going to fix that for you.
We have broken new ground in the area of life hacks today.
So
I feel so proud.
Oh man, mind's blown all over the place, right? Like,
now we just need to figure out what the mechanism of that is.
Well, I had seen something, I'm trying to find it now, that said that this was baloney.
That said that the spoon over the pot was baloney?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm just trying to find it now.
I admit that, after looking at all of these life hack articles, when I was making pasta for stroganoff the other day, I did put a wooden spoon over the pot and was just like, I wonder if this will work. And it didn't boil over, but I'm not sure if it would have anyway.
Right.
Because I didn't have a control.
Yeah. And that's the thing. And so I wanted to be as rigorous as I could be and have as many controls as I possibly could in these things. Okay, so I have a couple other little hacks that I tried. One says, when you're cracking eggs and you inevitably get a little piece of eggshell in there, if you're being clumsy or not paying attention or something, and then you try to fish it out and it's really hard to fish out, wet your finger and it'll be really easy to get it. So I cracked an egg. I did not get any eggshell pieces in, but I broke some off the edge and put them in and stirred them around so that they went to the bottom to make it really hard. The things we do for science. And then I took my dry finger and I just put it in the egg, and eventually I got it, but it was hard and it was annoying. All that.
Stopwatch?
Sorry, I did not use a stopwatch. This is all just very subjective. But then I washed off my finger, and then I dried it off to make sure that there was no egg residue left. And then I wet my finger again, but did not dry it off. And it worked really well. You could hit the eggshell immediately. It was never a problem.
Interesting.
So this, I would say, is a hack. Again, maybe not a hack, because I'm sure there are cooks out there that are like, yeah, you don't do that? Really? But
it's something that's not immediately intuitively obvious.
Right. And I was never taught to do that as a kid, so I didn't grow up. I'm sure some people were. But from now on, I will try to remember, just wet your finger and it'll make life way easier when you're fishing out eggshells.
Crack your eggs into a different bowl first.
Well, you still got to get it out if you want to pour your egg into something else.
Yeah. So, yeah, there's ways to get around it, but this one actually works surprisingly well.
Did you try using another piece of eggshell to get it out? I've also seen that.
I did not, but I've heard that one works.
Apparently you're just supposed to use the eggshell itself to scoop out your bit of egg.
No, that leads to a chain reaction of eggshell in my bowl and anger and throwing across the room kind of thing.
I think that the theory behind that is that, the membrane something or other attracts itself.
Yeah, I don't know. Ampersand's sad that she's been locked out of the room.
Yep. She doesn't fit between the bars anymore. Too much eating snowflakes food. Okay, so I tried one other egg hack, because I had the egg cracked already.
Yeah.
So, I don't know if you've seen this one, but to separate eggs easily, take one of those plastic water bottles, like the kind that I was chilling earlier.
I have seen this, yeah.
Empty it out.
Oh, goodness.
And hold it over the egg yolk. Squish it, hold it over the egg yolk, and then release. It'll suck up the egg yolk, and then just squeeze it again, and it'll pour it into another dish. Yeah. It worked!
Really?
Over and over again.
And it
worked
didn't take
really
any
well.
of the egg white with it?
No, it just sucked the egg yolk right out.
That's bizarre.
It was...
Laura's fridge is full of separated eggs.
I assume she used the same one.
I used the same one. But I did, pour the white back over it so that it was kind of mixed in. Yeah. But yeah, it worked.
Why doesn't the water bottle want the egg white?
I don't know. Weird. I'm really impressed that it had that it has the right amount of suction to not break the yolk. Mm-hmm. Especially when you're trying. I could imagine that the suction to pull it into the bottle would work, but I expected it to break coming out. I did not expect to be able to do it over and over again and keep this yolk intact. But it totally worked.
That's bizarre.
So, again, you have to trust that, one, your water bottle is clean, right? Or two, you have to know that you can really clean a crushed water bottle, which is going to be hard to do, and I wouldn't trust. And those things aren't meant for reuse anyway.
No.
Mm-hmm. But it works. So...
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess if you drank out of the water bottle and you're the one that's going to be eating the eggs.
Yeah. There's ways that it would work, but I don't know why you would have to resort to this, but it totally worked, and I did not expect it to at all.
I'm always surprised. I'm surprised that there are so many single-use egg separator gadgets out there. You can get those ones that horrify me that look like it's coming out of someone's nose or something.
Oh,
you pour the egg in and it separates them. Oh, it's so gross. I'm just why do you need that? You have hands.
Yeah. I have never separated an egg yolk from an egg white with anything but my hands.
I mean, sometimes I just use the shell.
I always use the shells. Mm-hmm. One of our old set of measuring cups came with an egg separator on top. Yes. So I tried that, but I found that some of the really big eggs would just sort of spill over, and then sometimes the yolk would fall out.
And that's disaster.
It is disaster. So that was... Yeah, but I've always just used the shells.
Yeah, I've never used the shells. I've always found that too fussy. I was always just my hands are clean.
Yeah, fair enough. But,
so Laura definitely had the most success out of all of us.
Yeah, there were some things. I mean, I will say that I did choose ones that were maybe more likely to work, or I chose ones that were testable.
Yeah.
Now, like I said, there was a whole bunch of hooey on some of these sites. Like, one of the lists of 50 life hacks included something like, drink pineapple juice because it is 5 times better than cough syrup, and it prevents colds. What?
What?
That's not a life hack. Like, that's not true.
Sense.
Or the other one is like, dark grape juice prevents, I don't know, like...
Scurvy.
Yeah, like, no, not even, like, it was something like strokes or some kind of, I don't know. It was
that's
just like...
dangerous.
Yeah, it was really, like, unscientific, untestable, just...
When I was looking up your spoon one there, IFL Science did a whole bunch of why these life hacks are baloney, so...
Oh,
that's a fun article to read.
yeah, I bet. That would be good.
Yeah.
Oh, here was another one. Drink apple juice before going to bed for sweet dreams.
What?
No, if you drink apple juice before you go to bed, you have to get up at 3 a.m. to pee and then brush your teeth again because the taste of the apple juice has come back up into your mouth and everything is awful.
Lauren has tried this hack and it did not work.
Lauren had a childhood.
Yeah.
Baby Lauren needed to brush her teeth at 3 in the morning.
Oh. So there were a lot of things like that. Or
I noticed you didn't do any coconut oil ones, Laura.
I didn't see coconut oil
Really?
once. I probably needed to look for like coconut oil hacks, and then I would have had like 1,001 uses for coconut oil.
Has that trend faded?
Yeah, it's not 2016 anymore.
Yeah. It's not, it's not the only thing, but if there was a keto hack, then I'm sure I would have found something. There's a great one on here that I'm just trying to find. Bear with me. There were a lot of hacks like use your Doritos to start fires.
I really wanted to try that one.
There were a lot of those. Yeah. This one I did not get to try, but it sounds really good. Find lost items with your vacuum. You put like a stocking over the hose and then vacuum around corners or where you lost something.
Again, things like that, just, common sense. Put a grid over the suction tube.
Yeah. But I will say I wouldn't have thought of doing that. Like, I personally would not have. So just seeing it done there, it's like, oh, yeah, that makes sense. Also, I don't have a lot of stockings or pantyhose lying around, so it's not something that I'm just kind of looking for ways to use.
Something of our mother's generation.
Yeah.
When I was growing up, in order to find needles or pins that got lost in the carpet, we just had my dad walk around, because he'd find them within, 30 seconds. I wouldn't tell him. It was just like, Dad, can you bring me this? Ow! Thank you!
Aww.
I was not a good person. Still I'm not. Hi, Dad.
This is one hack that I was definitely not at all interested in trying, but I thought was hilarious and ridiculous. If you forgot to put on deodorant and don't want to smell like you've been at the gym, cut a fresh lemon or orange into 2 halves and just rub it onto your skin. The body odor will disappear.
No! Weird. That's how you get a yeast infection.
Well, you're not putting it down your puppic.
You can get yeast infections in your armpits.
That's true.
No problem.
Anywhere that's...
Well, and it's just like, if you have oranges and lemons lying around and you have time and the things to go and cut those up, do you not also have access to deodorant? Or could you not go get deodorant in the time that it took you to cut up said orange and rub it on yourself?
If you're stopping at Safeway to get an orange, just go 3 aisles over.
And I'm assuming that they mean the fruit edge, not the lemon oil and the zest edge.
Well, that's the thing. They don't make it clear. So am I getting juicy or am I getting zesty? I don't know.
The answer is yes.
I smell like a fruit salad.
A sweaty fruit salad. Because it's not actually going to solve anything.
No, you're just going to smell like BO and oranges.
It'll confuse people.
Yeah. So, that is not like that right there, though, is what I think of as a hack. With some people are like, this is so clever. I am disrupting the world. It's like, no, no.
You're stinky and sticky.
Yeah. And if you had the time to dream this up, you had the time to do the original thing. That is what's going on here. Yeah. And if you really don't have the money to go and get deodorant, you can probably just wash a few times during the day and you'll probably be okay.
You won't be sticky.
Yeah, you won't be sticky and you won't have wasted an orange. You could have eaten that orange. Come on.
No, you still could.
No, you can't. No, you can't.
You use 1 one slice for your pits, and then you have a delicious snack.
Yeah.
And
Look on your face.
plausible deniability for why you smell like oranges.
Jeez. Oh. Also, they included the hack, open a stuck lid hack, run it under warm water. That's a hack? People didn't know that?
I've never done that.
Really?
I always use the end of a butter knife and just smack it.
So that looks like witchcraft to me. I cannot get that to work. I just work on it with my hands until I get carpal tunnel and need to prop up my keyboard.
No, it's something that I learned every time I asked my dad to open a jar for me. He would just get a butter knife out and hit it in the direction that the cap turns. And it only takes 2 or 3 hits and then no problem.
Huh.
I've never even heard of anybody running it out of water.
I've always run it underwater. Like, that's what my mom did. That's what I've always
Then
done.
you get water in whatever's in your jar.
No, you don't. You just warm it to warm it. Like, that's all it is. It's just to warm it up a little bit, and then you dry it off. And for a lot of things, it works. And especially for stuff that is sticky, like jam that's stuck, it will soften the
sense,
jam,
yeah.
and it'll make it really easy, but it doesn't make it runny on the inside.
Like, to get beads off, you are often told to freeze them because then the metal and the glass contract at different rates so that you can get them off. But I wouldn't have thought about warming something up to get it off because that's
But
not my thing.
again, it's because it's
because
the
of the
metal and the glass.
temperance,
Because
yeah.
the metal is going to soften faster than the glass is, so it's going to move.
So it is a life hack. It's totally a life hack.
It's a life hack for some people. I've been hacking it all along. Excellent. Okay.
So I made a game, and we have a special guest for our game. Jem is joining us.
Hello.
Yay! How's things, Jem?
Busy. Quit my job.
Still in school?
Yeah, still in school.
So we brought him on to harass him with a bunch of questions that I made up.
Listeners will remember that I suck at games. Ashlyn is very good at them, but, you know, if you're doing the asking of the questions, then I assume you're not participating.
That is correct.
Well, maybe I stand a chance.
I already know the answers. All right. So, while I was looking up different ways to suppress my gag reflex, I found...
You're going to have to listen to the show, Jeff.
I found a different kind of body hacking. And so these people are called grinders, as in...
What?
as in the thing you do in video games to level up.
Oh,
Okay.
My brain went elsewhere.
Can you explain what that means, please?
So when you're grinding in a video game, you do easy things over and over and over again in order to get points, and then your character gets more awesome.
Okay.
It's like when I spent 10 years trying to beat Zelda 2, The Adventure of Link for the NES, and I would put in hour after hour of running around in a field stabbing little slimes with my tiny little
Hate
sword.
those slimes.
So that I could eventually level up my ability to cast magic spells.
Very successful, Jen.
Let's be honest, you want to level up like your sword strike first, but, you know.
Anyway, so these people have come up with a variety of ways to modify their bodies in order to give themselves superpowers, essentially.
This sounds like that Scientology thing where they all have their superpowers are incredibly lame. Like, I can smell real good.
Some of them are pretty lame, I have to tell you. I have taken a whole bunch of them that I found in an article, and then I've also added several fake ones. I tried to make sure they were very fake, but there was at least one of them where I googled it and it turned out to be a real thing.
I get a score sheet set up.
Alright, the first one. Magnets are often among the first hacks grinders try. Piercing shops embed a neodymium magnet the size of a grain of rice beneath the skin of a finger. The magnets are coated in materials like titanium nitride, which is the same substance that is used to coat replacement hips, silicone, or Teflon. When a user encounters an electromagnetic field, it vibrates against the nerves, enabling the user to feel things like power transformers or microwave ovens. Or they can perform party tricks like dangling paper clips off their fingers. Is this a real hack or a thing I made up? I don't have a catchy title for this.
Real crap or fake crap?
Hack or crap?
It could be both.
Let's start with Lauren.
You gave a fancy name for the coding, so I'm pretty sure you didn't go and look that up somewhere else, so I'm going to say this is a real hack people do.
I am skeptical that it would actually give them the ability to detect EM fields via vibration. Like, it's possible, but I don't trust that the people they have doing these insertions would get that right enough. I do believe the silly party trick thing, though. So I'll say it's a real thing.
I also think it's a thing that people do.
Yes, this is definitely a real thing that people do. I am also skeptical about the vibrating thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And whatever happened to just sticking, like, a pin through the first couple of layers of skin and dangling those off your fingers?
That is also a party trick you can do in your own time. Alright, researchers wanted to know if they could enhance subjects' perception of time, so they implanted tiny devices into the ear, which would make a small click every minute. After a month, researchers turned off the device and, over a period of time, asked the subjects to tell them when 5 minutes had elapsed. So they timed it and they said, start, and then tell me when 5 minutes is over.
Turn off your internal clock data.
9 out of 10 of them were able to do so with a margin of error of 10 seconds. Real hack or fake?
I'm going to say real again. Sounds believable, if maddening.
I'll say...
Oh no, that was not me telling you to speed
You're
up.
the only
That
one
was
in the room who didn't know that.
Like it.
no, that was me trying to mimic the very annoying clicking sound that I'm sure everybody heard in their ears.
You don't sound like ticks, honey. I'm going to go with false. It is not a thing that happened.
It's most likely a thing that happened. Whether it's real or not, like, whether it works is...
Yes. That's what I meant.
Okay, I'm gonna say no.
Real or crap?
Say it's crap.
Okay. This is a thing I totally made up.
Yeah!
I was not able to find anyone who had tried this. It sounds like the most aggravating thing I can imagine.
Can you imagine the first night trying to sleep?
Well, like, people have clocks, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
But I can't sleep with a clock in the room.
Well, yeah, and they don't have clocks in their ear.
Yeah, like that you can never get away from.
Remember that clock in that house we were...
Oh yeah,
crashing at?
we were sleeping at a friend's house when we went down to an event in the States, and right over the bed was like this very fancy, enormous mantle clock, and it just was so loud. The first thing we did when we got in there was take it and bring it to a different room and hide it for the weekend. Anyway. Alright, the next one. Sonar perception. An off-the-shelf kit whose dolphin-like rangefinder locates an object in a dark room using an ultrasonic distance sensor. It then sends electromagnetic pulses to a magnet in the user's finger, providing a sense of things like an object's size and distance. As a user moves closer to the object, the sensations grow stronger. For people without magnet implants, a wearable magnet works just as well, delivering the same sensory vibrations outside the skin. Laura.
Okay, let me get the definition again, right? I'm saying it is fact that people do this, not that it works, right?
Yeah, this is a thing that you can implant in your body.
Okay, I'm gonna say it's totally a thing you can implant in your body. Totally.
Yeah, you can. Don't know why you would.
Okay, so you are suggesting that users can detect arbitrary objects using an external rangefinder that is communicating with a finger granule magnet?
Yes.
No.
You have it exactly
Nope.
right.
Nope.
Alright, this is totally a thing that you can put in your body.
Oh,
Yeah,
Jesus.
of course it is. As soon as you said wearable magnet, I'm like, yeah, you can totally buy
But
this
how,
thing.
like, so...
I don't know how it decides what you're looking at. I
Yeah,
have no
that's the
idea.
thing.
It doesn't. It doesn't, you guys. It doesn't. Why are we arguing? It doesn't.
As you get
I'm assuming that
closer,
this has to actually work.
yeah, as you get closer, it vibrates harder.
Yeah, but how would you know that that vibration means, like, it's big versus it's tall versus it's long versus it's wide versus
No
it
idea.
moves fast? Like, you wouldn't know.
Don't you want to be a dolphin, Laura?
No. Don't want to be a dolphin.
Somebody is going to clip out that segment of you yelling about vibrating things being big and long and tall.
Shut up.
Somebody being me at the end?
Alright. Researchers wanted to know if they could instill a learned sense of direction. For 7 weeks, 13 subjects wore belts with 30 vibrating motors stitched onto an elastic fabric that indicated when they were facing magnetic north. The subjects went about their normal lives. Over time, they improved their overall orientation abilities on a subcognitive level. With the belt, one does not have to always care so much whether there is a turn. One simply feels it. Quote from a user. Once the belts were removed, however, some users felt disoriented and insecure. Similar devices are now available as kits or as free plans on Instructables.com.
So, do these things the question is, do these exist?
Yeah, do they exist? Were people able to subcognitively recognize what direction that they were facing?
Those are two different questions. So, do they exist or they work? I'm going to say yeah.
Well, at this point, if I want to win, I would have to game it and probably just be
Don't game it,
contrarian.
dear.
But
Just-
I'm not going to. I'm going because I think that this actually does exist. So
Real
fact,
thing.
real
Okay.
thing. Not well, you know what I mean.
Yeah, I think this exists. I think this is a thing people try to do.
This is a thing that exists, and it apparently worked quite well. Like, people were able to tell what direction they were facing after an amount of time wearing this thing.
Ashlyn, should we make one?
Yeah, it sounds really useful for me, honestly. Absolutely no sense of direction. They didn't do very well once the belts were removed. They weren't.
You have to constantly wear your vibrator in order for you to know where you are.
Yeah, but I thought that was kind of a cool one, that you could get a sense of direction by wearing this thing.
Christmas list solved.
Researchers have now developed implantable solar panels that live under the skin of the neck and soak up the small amount of light that gets through. About the size of a dime and quite flexible, these implants are already being used to power things like pacemakers, which otherwise require a new battery and hence a new surgery every few years.
I mean, photovoltaics are still not great. We're at what, like 30% under optimal conditions. Optimal conditions would be, in this case, always in the sun, essentially, which under the skin of your neck is not.
Not optimal.
Skin.
The size of a dime. I mean, a pacemaker requires basically nothing, but still, there are much better ways to power a pacemaker, like, movement. I'm going to call bullshit on this.
Okay, Laura.
I'm also calling bullshit on it.
Okay.
Let's make it a trifecta.
Okay, so this is a thing I made up, but this is the one that I had to alter once I Googled it. Because there are actually photovoltaic cells that can go under the skin. They're just not yet being used to power pacemakers. So they've researched these things that they put them under basically skin-like conditions and had subjects wear them around. And they generated way more than enough to power a pacemaker.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, pacemaker does not require much, but...
Yeah, it's like 10 millivolts, something ridiculously small.
Wow.
And so this is a thing that's totally going to happen in the next few years. But it hasn't happened yet.
Like, what other than a pacemaker, which is like a very low bar to hop across, what else that's useful could be powered like
You could
that?
sleep with your cell phone on your shoulder.
Yeah, it's not going to charge. It's not going to charge. Like,
Yeah.
charging a cell phone requires an absurd amount of power, especially because charging is bad, right? Like, charging in addition to photovoltaics being very inefficient, charging anything is super inefficient. So,
Yeah. That was the only actual device that was mentioned by name, but they
Yeah.
did suggest that there were other applications for this. I don't know what they might be. Aren't there like brain implants that occasionally stimulate things? like
for seizure prevention
Yeah,
and stuff.
stuff
Yeah, I was
that.
thinking something like that, or there might be some of the, like, I know that sometimes they use things for muscle spasms and
right,
that.
or
so
even
if
like
there's
gut movements sometimes. too.
yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Or eventually when we get prosthetics that could feel through the skin and...
But I feel like that would require a lot
lot
more
of power,
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, again, this is
Down the
contingency.
road. I feel like, though, what happens when you live in Manitoba and you wear long sleeves
So
all the time in the winter?
So that's why it's your neck, because that's
Okay.
going to be less likely to be covered. The study that I got this information from was conducted in Switzerland. So,
Okay.
it's
it's milder, but it's not, like, tropical.
yeah, and they did it over 3 seasons, so they tested it in summer, winter, and spring, and they had the subjects cover up the panel anytime that their neck would be covered. So, like, if they went outside with a scarf.
I guess
thought it was
it's
a
another
really cool
reason to
thing.
get a satellite.
Yeah, I was thinking, I mean, like, another thing, too, is just being, like, every day you sit under a lamp for half an hour, and that's just what you do, right?
I'm gonna charge my neck.
And they said
It's a super inefficient way to charge, though, sitting under a lamp that you're already powering with something else. Why wouldn't you just want to, like, something that can plug in? I guess you don't want to plug something into your skin.
Yeah, you want something that can be in, and like Ashlyn said, then you don't need a surgery.
it prevents surgery.
And
You don't want your plug-in. You don't want your body to be a plug-in hybrid vehicle.
Yeah.
I've played a Decker in Shadowrun. It's pretty cool.
They also tested this in a bunch of different age groups, and it was interesting. They said that the older the test group was, the more energy they generated, and their theory is that folks who were retired had more time to go outside during the day.
That's sad.
More time and probably more
Inclination? Maybe. All right, next one. The deep-sea dragonfish, found in oceans of the southern hemisphere, swims a mile below the water's surface. A chlorophyll derivative in its eyes helps it see in the dark. In March 2015, California biohackers wanted to try a similar derivative, chlorin E6. They bought 100 milligrams from a medical supplier, and 2 hours after dosing, one subject was able to identify people 50 feet away in a darkened area 100% of the time, while 4 control subjects had a 33% success rate. So far, there have been no bad side effects. Chlorophyll in the eyes. I don't know whose turn it is first. Laura?
Oh, man. That sounds exactly like something that Silicon Valley would do. Exactly like it. Let's just take this random substance and shove it in really squishy body parts.
California biohackers is pretty much like the exact people that you would expect something like this from,
so, sure, let's say they did this. I don't think it worked, but let's say they did it.
I still get squicked out by the thought of, like, breathing the liquid thing in the Abyss movie.
Yep.
So this, just, I have a thing about the eyeballs. Yeah, they did it.
Remember when James Cameron used to make good movies?
I do. Actually, I do.
No way this is true. I mean, this is straight out of Cory Doctorow or Annalee Newitt's novel. Speaking of which, Annalee Newitt's novel, Autonomous, I'm about halfway through it. Very good. Patent piracy forever.
Nice.
What was I saying? Oh yeah, chlorophyll in the chlorophyll derivative. Well, like, why would a fish have like I can see a chlorophyll adjacent molecule? It wouldn't be necessarily direct. Well, I mean, maybe if it's eating. This all seems very fishy to me. I am going to say no.
Come on.
Nope.
I already said yes.
Okay. This is totally a thing that happened, apparently.
Damn it!
Of course
I'm so bad at this.
Yeah, so I actually took out a bunch of details because I didn't want it to be way longer than all of the other ones and give it away, and I think there's already still probably too many details in here, but they had to dilute it with, like, insulin and saline and then, like, inject it into the eye, and so it actually helps them to see in the red light that's cast by a bioluminescent organ in the fish, and in a dark room, it worked, apparently. It sounds awful.
So they're detecting, essentially, like, body radiation, like, in the infrared?
I don't know.
It's just low light vision.
Yeah. I think it's... they didn't say 100% dark room, right? They said a darkened room.
Okay. Huh. That is unexpected.
It sounds very wild, right?
100%?
Yeah. I don't know how many trials they did.
Yeah.
Well, and then were people their own controls as well? Or did they just, did they control against each other?
No,
Stan, who has really good low light vision.
Well, that's what I'm thinking, right?
they had 4 other people who didn't do very well.
But maybe all those people were vitamin A deficient. You don't know, like... Because I don't trust these biohackers to actually control and do anything appropriately.
Yeah.
So.
Anyway, isn't Deep Sea Dragonfish a really badass name?
Yes.
My new band name.
Cool.
Yeah, totally.
You might think that those laser keyboards that will project a usable keyboard onto any desk are cool, but grinders have taken it one step further. Tiny implants in each fingertip can now take the place of your keyboard. Sensors in your wrist connect via Bluetooth to your device, and you can type on any surface as accurately as you can on a regular keyboard. No extra equipment required.
Well, it would negate the need for binder clips. No. Wrong. Didn't happen.
Yeah, definitely false. Also, those laser keyboards are not cool. They suck. I need some sort of tactile feedback.
I'm also gonna say it did not happen, but I feel like maybe one day.
Yeah, Bluetooth? Come on. That is a really shitty technology. But, yeah, like, as accurately as a laser keyboard, maybe I could believe, but not as accurately as a tactile keyboard, because feeling the edges of the keys is super important for accurate typing, unless you have a really good autocorrect, which is never really good.
Yeah, this is totally a fake thing I made up. I expected this to be the easiest fake, the easiest fake one to get by you, though. I thought you would fall for it.
Because you would have to accurately measure each typist how their fingers move when they reach for a key. Because I know that my typing style is different from, say, your typing style, definitely. And I haven't seen Jem's typing style up close, but I'm pretty sure our typing styles are very different.
I would think the most plausible one that you could accomplish, I just don't think we'd accomplish it the way you suggest.
Right.
Like, totally measuring finger movement, you could do that, and what you'd want to do, Lauren, is just throw, like, just a simple neural net in there, and it would figure out your typing style.
I was going to say
easily.
there'd be like a calibration phase.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
you'd have to type on a
Like-
regular keyboard for a bit.
Yeah, you just type on a regular keyboard for a bit.
And
then,
like you put the dimensions of said keyboard or something like that,
Yeah.
and then
yeah, and it could, like, if it had some sort of proprioceptive, some sort of sense of where your fingers are moving, not just which one is moving, but sort of how far, at least to some degree, I would say you could be more accurate.
Yeah.
But,
I'm sure this is something that will be a thing in some form
yeah.
eventually.
Maybe I'm curmudgeoning, but not for me. I like my keyboards.
Imagine walking down the street and hearing a hotspot's presence.
Oh, God.
In your ear every minute.
London journalist Frank Swain is partially deaf. He wears hearing aids that link via Bluetooth to his smartphone. A sound engineer friend hacked his phone's software, so now it sends melodies and Geiger counter-like clicks to his hearing aids when it detects Wi-Fi zones. I pick up a lot more data than you might think, Swain says. Routers give away a lot through the pitch of their digital signals, including the brand, the type of router, the internet service provider, whether high security or low security. I can even home in on their location using stereo. Gem.
So if this is if it's a digital signal, we're talking, I don't know. The way he described that is suspect. I mean, the pitch of the digital signal does not really make sense, like, coming from the router, but it could be the way it is being interpreted by whatever software his friend provided. I could see them varying the pitch based on those things. But that would be something that they do rather than something that the router does. I mean, the router will broadcast that information, but not in a way that would de facto show up as a pitch on its own. But yeah, I believe that this happened.
I also believe that this happened.
You put names in the thing, so yes, I believe it happened.
Yeah, that's basically it.
Yeah, it's just such a cool story, though, isn't it?
You know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of, like, Geordie's vision on Next Generation, where he's picking up, like, spectra all over the place that are invisible to you.
It also sounds incredibly maddening. I would not want this technology.
No.
Again, like Geordie's visor.
Yeah, I do not know why anyone would want this ability. Sounds terrible, but is apparently a thing that happened. One grinder wanted true wireless headphones, so he implanted a magnet in the small prominence in front of each ear. He then hacked his smartphone to send audio into a signal amplifier that relays it to a wired antenna necklace around his neck. The necklace creates an electromagnetic field around his head, and the field induces vibrations in the ear magnets that he hears his music. The sound quality is decent, comparable to a cheap set of earbuds.
God. Oh. That sounds like a lot of work for crappy sound.
But it's a hack.
Yeah, I know. It's wild enough that it's like, oh, maybe it actually happened. But I don't know. That seems like a lot of... So he wears the necklace. It's just the magnet implants over here.
So the magnets are inert, but the necklace interacts with the magnets such that it makes them vibrate, right?
Yeah.
That is what I understand.
Okay.
I'm
going to say no, this didn't happen.
Yeah, I'm going to say no, because, like, how is he... It sounds like it would just be like a pitched buzz, and... No.
You
Didn't
play
happen.
MIDI files.
No, didn't happen.
Well, you definitely can... I mean, I have some bone conduction headphones that vibrate sort of where you describe, and it conducts along the jawbone.
We all touch the same part of our ear at the same
Yeah.
time.
Did it happen? It would be tough to set this up to interact in that way. I think it's possible, but a single hacker doing it seems unlikely at this stage in the game, so I'm going to say no.
This is a real thing that happened.
Oh!
I thought you were going to game it.
This was the first one that Laura and I got wrong.
Yeah, so I don't have a lot more information than that. This is just a thing that was reported on that he did.
Seems like a lot of fuss and bother for nothing.
Well, especially for bad quality.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's cool. It's a cool thing. How are the bone conductor ones? Like, I've heard of them. They sound really wild.
They're great. Like, the thing that I don't like about them is that they were developed by Chinese state police, basically. Oh. And, yeah, so cops. But they work really well. They are a little bit quiet compared to, you know, in-ear or over-ear headphones.
So you can't, like, turn it up.
The depth of sound is good, though. Like, they get...
The quality is good.
The quality is good. They also bleed a bit more. So, you know, like, other people will be able to hear that you're listening to something.
I thought the whole point was that didn't happen.
Well, like, if you have the volume jacked way up, I think that they are great for listening to music. And they are, and they're also great, you know, if you want to be able to hear stuff going on around you. So, you know, if you're walking around or you're biking or something like that, they would be good. I usually don't listen when I'm biking anyway, just because
it's illegal.
I could not care less whether it's legal. But because I like to
pay attention to your surroundings.
Nope. Well, yeah, but like I like to be like present in the experience rather than absorbed in something else. But yeah, like largely they're good. They do bleed at high volume though, but I like them.
Many electronic systems have water cooling systems to keep them at a constant happy temperature. What if you had control of your body's temperature in the same way? German researchers have come up with an implant which circulates water through a small unit which can regulate the temperature of said water down to 0.5 degree. The implanted hoses target key areas and can prevent overheating during athletics or hypothermia while out winter hiking.
Terrifying.
Lauren.
When I was in college the first time, a friend of mine cooled down his computer using Dr. Pepper in a series of tubes. We thought that was really cool until it broke. I'm gonna say no.
Well, I've got those. They're under my arms.
Yeah.
Put some oranges on that.
Yeah, for some reason, Laura refused to try that.
Didn't want to be sticky.
Yeah.
Yeah, like this, I don't know. This sounds like something that somebody would do plausibly, but it also seems like, I don't know.
No.
Nah.
There's too much tubing that would have to go in.
Yeah, would you run the tubes under the skin, or would they just be like would it be a tube suit that you're wearing?
Tube suit.
I can't throw you over my
A series of tubes.
So this is an implantable thing. Implantable system. And is it did you say, is it a full body thing, or is it just around your
key
torso?
areas.
Okay. Like, that part makes it more plausible, but I don't think this happened.
This is totally a thing I made up.
Yeah.
You freak.
So much you learn about your wife.
With the fake ones.
Oh, there's plenty of things I know about my wife.
I thought that was kind of a cool idea, though. Very Android.
Yes.
Right.
Said by somebody who needs to be cooler more of the time. I'm like, that sounds awful! Give me a blanket!
No, sounds good to me, but...
But I mean, I did put in that you could do either way, right?
I guess so. My mind just immediately went to, why would you want to be colder?
Well, it was also like you'd need like a backpack or some sort of big pack that does the heating or cooling.
Yeah, I was thinking about just like, how would the exhaust the extra heat? I have no idea, whatever.
I would just imagine like you're overheating and then suddenly like the refrigeration unit turned on.
You put like a steam whistle.
Well, you know how you can hear a fridge turn on, right? Yeah.
A cure for color blindness. In a Barcelona clinic, a surgeon, operating without ethical approval, drilled 4 holes into the occipital bone at the base of a patient's skull and anchored a camera. Its flexible lens arcs over the head to just above his brow, where it captures the color of any object he's looking at. A chip inside his skull transposes the color into a frequency. Red becomes the musical note F, rose becomes E, etc., and then turns each frequency into a vibration picked up by his inner ear. So it turns color into sound.
Whoa. Back to synesthesia.
This ties into another show we did. Yay!
Yeah.
Is it me first this time?
I think so.
Sure, go ahead.
Okay, so he's got like a camera arcing from the back of his base of his skull over his head, over their head. I don't remember if you specified the gender. Yeah, I thought. It looks like such a 70s like silly sci-fi thing. Got an antenna. Operating without ethical approval. Like, obviously that would be true, but that also sounds like an Ashlyn inserting some editorialization. Nah. Nope. I'm gonna say no.
Yeah, I don't think so.
It's just too much work for someone to see color and to hear No. Although you did say, you said, it's in Barcelona. And usually when you're very specific, it means it's actually some...
The last one said German researchers.
Well, Barcelona is more specific than Germany.
This is a real thing that happened. Yeah, apparently the patient was a musician, and so something that they collaborated with together, and he wanted to hear colors.
Okay.
He says the antenna feels like a large tooth. I have no idea how that works. I don't know.
Oh, I know what that means. Ow.
Oh, I guess you know, like the feeling that you get in your
Right,
face
'cause
when you wiggle a
it's
tooth,
attached to his
because it's
occipital
attached
bone.
to his skull.
Yeah.
Ow.
So that is all of the questions that I have. How did our panelists do, Scorekeeper?
Well,
I prophesied accurately.
Jem got 6. And Laura and I tied with 9, because there was 11 questions, right?
Yay. There were 11 questions.
Yes. Laura and I got 9 each.
Well
The
done.
exact same ones.
Yeah.
And Jem got 6.
Well, I'm glad we had Jem in for some variety of the answers. Thanks for joining me today, everybody.
This was a fun one.
It was fun.
Thanks for inviting me.
Have a great night, everybody.
Night.
Good night.
Good night.
You've been listening to Life, the Universe, and Everything Else. If you have any questions or comments, or you'd like to suggest a topic for the show, send us an email at lueepodcast@winnipegskeptics.com. If you want to show your support, give us a review on iTunes or Stitcher, follow us on Twitter or Facebook, or just share the show with a friend. Our music is produced by the very talented Ian James, and this episode was edited by Lauren Bailey.
Don't put me in your mouth.